Hey, it's me, Althazar, and welcome to another video. In this one, I'm going to be taking a look at the pre-release notes for the 4.2 update that is bringing Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, to the game, along with 3 brand new Planeswalkers. So if you do not want spoilers, you're going to want to tune out now because I'm going to go over the Planeswalkers. I've got 2 separate videos coming up about the Chase Common, Uncommon, and Rares, and then Chase Mythics and Masterpieces. So I've actually gone and compiled all of those into 2 separate videos. I just need to record them. So let's get started. So we get a brand new set. We get Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths. And with Ikoria, we're getting 3 new walkers, as I mentioned. The first one is a mono green Vivian. So we're getting ourselves another Vivian. She has the same mana bonuses as the Teferi, Nissa Worldwaker, Oko, that whole crew of the 4, 3, 2, 1, and -1. Her 3 abilities are going to be based on creatures and evergreens and making bigger creatures. So the first one costs 9. This Roar of the Daikaiju, big kaiju. Pick one of the first 4 different creatures from your library. Fetch that card. It gains 3 mana for each of its basic evergreen abilities. Companion. Then it gains a random basic evergreen ability. So the way that Companion's going to work, we're going to see it a little bit lower, but as long as your deck meets a specific requirement, then the Companion is going to activate. So I don't think it says what her Companion is. No, it doesn't. So when we see what the Companion requirement for Vivian is, we'll know how likely it is to get that basic evergreen, but you can just build your deck around it. The second ability, Shadows of a Colossus. Target creature you control gets a permanent +8/+8. Then it gains all basic evergreen abilities of the first creature card in your hand. So as you can see from the first 2 abilities, you're going to want to try and probably build a deck around Vivian that has critters with a lot of evergreens. And then finally, the third ability is the ability that I like the most. It's Queen of Monsters. And so you're going to fetch the first 2 creatures with the highest cost that are X or less from your library. Those cards gain X mana. X is the amount of loyalty you have. So given that this costs 15, you may wind up having more. You'll likely have more. So let's just put this into slightly simpler terms. So fetch the first 2 creatures with the highest cost that are equal to or less mana than your loyalty. Those cards gain an amount of mana equal to your loyalty, right? And then if that loyalty is 18 or more, those creatures are going to gain trample and vigilance. Lose all of your loyalty. So basically, turn all of your loyalty into fetching and mana for creatures. So pretty cool ability, honestly. Second Planeswalker, Luca, Coppercoat Outcast. So Luca's a mono red walker. Luca's got mana gains kind of like the most recent Elspeth Sun's Nemesis. And so this one is going to have the +4/+4/+3, -1/-1. He's got 3 abilities. So the first one, Monster Recruitment, is pick one of the first 4 cards from your library, fetch that card. Then exile the others. So you're going to pick one, exile 3. That card gains X mana. X is the number of cards of that type in your exile. And then if you have the Companion requirement for Luca, if it's a creature card, it gains +3/+3. Otherwise, it gains cycling 3. So you can trash it from your hand, and if you have 3 or more mana in your hand, you draw a card. Second ability, Feral Gorilla. Exile target creature you control, then fetch the first creature with the highest cost that is X or less from your library. Move that card to play under your control. X is 6 plus the exiled creature's cost. So the idea behind Feral Gorilla is you sacrifice a creature to fetch a stronger creature from your library. And then finally we have Predator's Squad. So all of your creatures get a permanent +X/+X and gain permanently Double Strike and Menace. Then deal damage equal to the sum of your creature's power to your opponent's Planeswalker. X is the number of creature cards in your exile. This ability just really feels like a wannabe Kalemni ability, so I don't see why I would use Luca over Kalemni, but I would need to try him out. And then finally, the third walker is the one that I imagine we're all the most excited for. and that's American Narset. So I say American not because Narset is an American figure, but because it's red, white, and blue. I'm sure that Theezy, the Minotaur lover in my coalition, would remind me that America's flag is not the only red, white, and blue flag. But that is a story for another time. So Narset has Brocon's mana gains, so +3, +3, +3, -1, -1. The first ability is going to be gain 6 life and then activate 3 gems, which upon activating will convert 2 gems to your Planeswalker's colors. If you have the companion, which we don't know, but if you have the companion requirement, then it's going to activate and convert 3 gems instead. So since this is to your Planeswalker's colors, those gems could convert to red, white, or blue. I can't say that I really like the first ability. I don't see a lot of use for it unless you're just trying to spam an ability for 6. The second ability, Mind Detachment. This ability is awesome. So discard a card and draw 3 cards. Then if the discarded card is a spell, deal damage to target opposing creature equal to that card's mana cost. If that card is a support, gain mana equal to the mana cost of that discarded card. So basically, this is going to be an insane Planeswalker for Legacy. Absolutely bonkers. If for Standard, I'll have to play it and see, but it's 3 colors, so I can't see how it wouldn't be good. But, I mean, this leaves us open for Omniscience plus Hazoret's Undying Fury plus Deploy the Gatewatch decks. And with those 3, I mean, you can discard, let's say that you're in a pinch, you can use the second ability, discard Omniscience to mostly fill up Hazoret's or deploy. Heck, you could discard an Omniscience to fully charge up an Omniscience and then play it, and then Hazoret's into the deploys. So I can see this second ability being incredibly useful. And then just drawing 3 cards is going to help you filter through your deck anyways. You can use this just to remove creatures. So this second ability seems really strong to me. At 12 loyalty, I think that's very reasonable for what it does. And then finally, the third ability, Ancient Way. So create a Greater Ancient Way token. Draw 3 cards. Then non-creature cards in your hand all gain 2 mana. And so that Greater Ancient Way token, this is at level 60, says when you cast or cycle a non-creature card, deal 4 damage to any opposing target. This effect can trigger up to 4 times per turn. And whenever you draw a card without cycling, that card gains cycling 4. So, I mean, being limited to this triggering 4 times a turn is kind of a bummer, just because I don't really see dealing 4 damage to any opposing target being overly powerful. I mean, since it's a non-creature card, it's basically like a weaker version of Rawl's third ability. That is also, I want to say 6 more loyalty. I think Rawl's third is 18. I know that you get the other things with it. It draws 3 cards immediately, but with Rawl, you're going to draw 2 cards every time you play a spell. And then cycling, it lets you filter your deck, but really the selling point for Narset is the colors. So getting a 3-color walker in those colors, along with this second ability, Mind Detachment. So I see Narset being top tier out the box, just amazing and fantastic, but primarily because of the combination of the second ability and it being a 3-color walker. We've got some new mechanics. So we've got Companion. I've mentioned Companion already. So it's a keyword for cards or planeswalkers that have a deck. They require that your deck have specific restrictions. So the Companion's ability is going to be active if, and here's an example restriction, if your starting deck contains 4 or more creatures with 1 or more of the following subtypes: Beast, Cat, Dinosaur, Elemental, or Nightmare. So we'll have to see what the Companion abilities are for all the cards that have Companion and for all the planeswalkers that have Companion before we're able to determine if they're great or good or not so good. But I like the idea of the mechanic, and I think it holds pretty true to paper version of Companion. We've then got Mutate, and so Mutate is going to bring us 2 new icons, and it's going to be very important to recognize what both of those icons are. So Mutate is going to say whenever you cast this card from your hand, if you control a non-token, non-mutated creature, you may choose it to enter the battlefield as a mutation. If it entered as a mutation, you reinforce that creature, and then that creature is going to gain this card's mutation effect. Furthermore, and I'm hoping that they add to this, whenever you cast another copy of that creature, you trigger the mutation effect again. So if you see a card and it has mutate on it, this little DNA symbol, then that means that when you play it, you can choose to have it add its mutation effect to a non-token, non-mutated creature. Then once you choose to mutate a creature, it's going to now gain this little symbol right here. And this means that the creature has been mutated. So the difference is that this means that this right here means you can mutate it, and this means that the creature has been mutated. So really good information to have about the mutate mechanic, but it looks very strong. There's a lot of mythics with the mutate mechanic that look absolutely insane. So new abilities category, basic evergreen. This really is just what it was before. So Berserker, First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Defender, Hexproof, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, Vigilance, and it's not listed here, but Flying is also going to count as a basic evergreen. So they're just modifiers on creatures that you see from set to set. They've purposefully left off some others like Flash and whatnot, but these are going to be under that basic evergreen category. For changes for the packs, for VIP and Standard, we've known this was coming since before Theros Beyond Death, so this just means that this is the set where your packs will no longer roll forward if you have pre-existing packs. We've got booster crafting. They've already announced this one before too, but basically when Ikoria comes out, then Theros Beyond Death is going to become available for booster crafting. All standard sets are going to cost 5,000. I really like this as a change for Mythics, just because before the newest one would cost 7,500 per Mythic. Now it's just going to cost 5,000. So that's really good. I like that a lot. It's just going to make the cards more accessible as soon as the next set comes out. And I know you could tell me like, hey, when the next set comes out, it's going to change, but it requires currently it requires the next set to be in booster crafting before that 7,500 goes down. So I do like that. Other changes, they added this ability counts as an activate effect to specific abilities. So Adapt, Aftermath, Embalm, Eternalize, Exert, and Trap. But they didn't do it to all abilities. So like the Graveyard Gems and stuff didn't change. Cycling mechanic has been changed, the tutorial text. So they've just changed the text for cycling so that it reads a little bit more accurately to how it works. So you can cycle a card by dragging it from your hand to exile. If you have the total amount of mana in the cards in your hand that is equal or greater than the card cycling value, then you're going to draw a card. So, yeah. And then Plane Chasing Fiblethip is going to now award a Theros Beyond Death booster instead of... I have the image, Eldraine. And then Trials of the Plains is now going to be rewarding Ikoria boosters. And then a few card changes. So Godsend is having the text on it change to reflect what it actually does. So that's really nice. I've had actually a lot of people ask me about that since the card came out. And so it doesn't currently work at the time of my making this video how it reads, but it will now work as it reads. They're changing Stone Coil Serpent. I like this a lot. So it's going to have the stored value change from 2 to 5. That means that you can buff it with an additional +5/+5 instead of +2/+2. Since the thing has reach, that means that it'll become a better reach creature. This is really nice for certain pauper objectives, so I like that. They're changing Hixis. So Hixis Prison Warden is going to change so that now instead of saying when this support is destroyed, enable all your opponent's creatures. It says when it's destroyed or exiled, enable all opponent's creatures. So there have been a lot of issues with Hexes getting exiled and then everything just stays disabled. So this is going to fix that, and that's a good fix. We've got rare spell card Camaraderie getting buffed. So before it was draw X cards and gain X times 3 life, where X is the number of creatures and reinforcements you control up to 6, and your creatures would get 1/1 until end of turn. Now, instead of them just getting +1/+1, they're going to get +X, where X is that up to 6. So you could draw foreseeably 6 cards, gain 18 life, and give them all 16, +6/+6. That's like 15 mana or something. So it makes it a usable card. We've got some bug fixes. Some of them are a really big deal. So this first one is a minor deal. So fixed an issue where these weren't creating human soldier tokens. Now they will. Fixed an issue with inverted art. And here's the big stuff. So Urza's finally getting fixed in 2 ways. So first one is it's no longer going to crash the game when interacting with Castle Vantris. This was causing most of the Urza crashes. And then fixed an issue where the game would freeze when casting Urza and Yarok. So here and here, you're going to see Urza will hopefully function as intended. And now you can use this incredibly overpowered card without worrying about it crashing your game. They fixed an issue where the game would soft lock when killing tokens. That's huge. They fixed an issue where repeated reverberation was still crashing the game. That's huge. Fixed an issue where all the finales would crash the game. This was a righteous pain in the rear. So this is a huge fix. I hope it works as intended because finales are just such good cards and people are using them because they're such good cards, but then you go up against them and you get a crash. So yeah, I haven't had it happen to me yet, but like everyone else I know has had it happen to them. I guess I'm just really lucky. So yeah, this is bad news bears, but it's good that it's being fixed. Other than that, we've got fixed an issue with Folio Fancies and Walking Archives effects. The Great Tournament in the Being Inhuman node is now going to convert gems just to one Planeswalker color instead of both, which is nice. So it'll properly convert to your gems. Fixed an issue where Teferi's +1 was not triggering when the spell on the opponent's hand was not in the first slot. That's nice. And fixed an issue where Cry of Carnarium's -2/- effect was not being triggered. So the big key here is they're getting rid of a bunch of crashes, and that is good. So that's very, very good. We don't know what Ikoria is going to bring to the table, but nonetheless, this is going to fix a lot of crashes. We're getting some new events, so 2 of them. One is a standard PvP event. It's got a 30 crystal buy-in. There are going to be 3 nodes. It's going to last about 2 days. 3 charges, 6. I'm going to guess just with the buy-in that it's going to be something kind of like Challenge of the Courts or something. I don't know. So I'm excited to see what this does or what this is, but it'll be really cool to have a new event. And restricted subtype human, I'm pretty interested to know what that means too. So that could be pretty cool. And then we've got Hunter X Bonder, and so this is going to be a new PvP coalition event. It's going to have 2 nodes. It's probably going to be a direct mirror of Titanomachy, so we're probably going to see the rewards being the exact same as Titanomachy's, same number of nodes, all of that stuff. So that bit is nice. I like how Titanomachy works, just as an event in terms of the time requirement and all of that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, Titanomachy's rewards are entirely underwhelming. So it's worth to play just for fun, but it's not really worth playing from the rewards side. I know that the VIP change coming makes it so that we won't have everything up front, so we'll have more of a reason to try and get packs, so maybe we'll feel more rewarded for playing this. I don't know. I'm skeptical about that, but we'll see. I think that really there needs to be a reward overhaul for the coalition events to make them worthwhile for something like Hunter X Bonder to be exciting, because as it stands, you can just play the daily events, and if you play the daily events seriously and by and large skip coalition events, you're gonna be fine on resources. So I hope that we see a change to that soon. So finally, there's the card gallery. I'm going to be going over this in a separate video, so if I missed anything, let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you're most excited for with Ikoria. I'm actually most excited for King Kong, so you'll see King Kong in the Mythic Chase cards. But let me know what you're excited for. We got a lot of really good stuff coming up. Maybe I should say I'm most excited for the crash changes, because getting rid of those crashes is going to be pretty huge. I'm going to go with the crash fixes. Yeah. So let me know what you're most excited for, and I'll see you in the next one.